Hey you guys, I hope y'all are having a great week so far. Happy Sunday to everyone. I wanted to come and bring y'all a lesson that corresponds a little bit with what the kids ministry is bringing to y'all today. So I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about the Good Samaritan. If you've never heard the story of the Good Samaritan, I'm going to kind of put it in my own words for y'all. But if you want, you can follow along with me in the book of Luke, which is in the New Testament. It's after Matthew and Mark, and you'll find it, and it's in chapter 10, and it starts at verse 25, and mine says loving your neighbor above it, but it might say the Good Samaritan or the parable of the Good Samaritan, something like that. And parables were kind of stories that Jesus would tell people that came to him asking questions, or what should I do, or what's the right thing to do, and he would tell these stories that we could relate to. So this was one of those stories, a parable of the Good Samaritan, which basically this man who gets beaten up, gets robbed by thieves, is kind of left on the side of the road, left for dead, and the first person to come by and see him was a priest. Someone that we would say would, of course, help the man, a man of God, would just stop by the road and get him anything he needed. But instead, the priest walked by. He had other things to do, he was a priest, he was a busy man, and he didn't have time for him. So next, a Levite came. So a Levite was same sort of type of man. He was a religious man, person of the tribe of Levi, and he also saw the man and he would be expected to stop and help the man on the side of the road, but instead, again, he walked on by, did not have time for him. But then a Samaritan was someone who was either a Jewish person and married a Gentile, or flip-flopped, a Gentile married a Jew, someone who mixed those lines, and back then they weren't supposed to do that. So they were someone that was very disliked by people in Jesus's time. So they used this as an example of someone that shouldn't or wouldn't help another man. But the Samaritan comes to the beaten man and bandages all his wounds, puts him on his own donkey, and takes him to an inn, pays for his whole stay, says give him whatever he needs to get him better, and so he doesn't die. And so then he did that, and Jesus comes back and tells the man, who do you think is the neighbor, the loving neighbor? And they said the Samaritan, the one who took care of the man that was hurt, of course. And then Jesus said, go and do likewise. So I wanted to talk to y'all about this, because what can we do right now? Anytime I want to talk to y'all, I want it to be something you can take with you while you're at home, while you're experiencing this really different time of school, or trying to talk to friends, but not being able to see them in person. And so something I thought about was, how can we be a good Samaritan right now? How can we help others, help our neighbors, help our people at home, our parents, our siblings, whoever's at home with us, our families? How can we help our friends? How can we help our teachers? Things like that. And a lot of things that I've seen, we've seen a lot of acts of kindness I've seen on Facebook or media, and what can we do that would brighten someone's day? I know for me, I've had some ups and downs during this time being at home. Sometimes we have good days, sometimes we don't. And something that's really helped me is a friend that just says, hey, can I call you? And we just check up on each other, make sure we're doing okay. And if we're not, we be honest about them. We're like, this is kind of stinky. This kind of sucks. And we talk about it, and we talk about how that's okay. And so maybe it's you just send a text message to one of your friends and says, hey, I hope you're doing well. If you want to talk on the phone, or if you want to FaceTime or something like that, let's do it. Let's talk about how things are at home, how are our families doing. Or maybe it's going the extra mile with working on things at home, probably doing an extra chore, or, just having some more patience like we talked about last week. How can we show that extra hand of kindness, and, maybe doing something we wouldn't normally do, or doing something even when we don't want to do it. which is what obviously the Good Samaritan would do, which is something that Jesus would do when we're really getting tested at this time some days. So I wanted to share this story with you because it's a great story and it really applies to so many different scenarios or things that you could be going through, even a pandemic scenario. So I really hope y'all can take something from this lesson and maybe spread a little bit of kindness to someone today or during your week, or maybe make a meal. I've had one of our family ministry pastors, Sarah Luganville, she came and dropped off some food for our apartment, and that was so incredible. And something as simple as that, of just going and taking a meal to a neighbor right next to you or to your friend's house or something like that, that can be so uplifting, and it can turn a whole day or week around, and you feel like you have a little bit more of a sense of community in this time. So just something like that where you can just put a smile on someone's face when maybe they've had a bad day. And so I hope you'll take this lesson to heart and maybe write a friend like a letter and put it in the mail, something like that. And I hope that y'all have a really great week and that y'all are doing well. I am hoping to make a like another Zoom call soon, so be on the lookout for that. And I hope y'all have an amazing week. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.